it's Jen from Shabby Fabrics, and as you can see, I have someone really special with me today. This is Bethany Miller. Plum Easy Patterns, as you know, if you've been watching any of our videos, one of our favorite pattern and just amazing. The folded star stencils, the folded star hot pads, more to come. Well, Bethany is part of Plum Easy Patterns and has joined the Shabby Fabrics team. We are so excited. And this amazing quilt behind us, Orange Blossom, your design.
Yep.
And so, a lot of times when we have someone new on our creative team, they'll learn how to do something and then they teach me. And then I try to become an expert in a short time. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't we just have the woman herself come on and show us how to make this amazing Orange Blossom block, which is right in here. By the way, this is from Maywood Studios, the Woolies Flannel. And Bethany's from California. And I said, you know what, Bethany? That batik is nice, but it's cold up in North Idaho. I want to do Orange Blossom in flannel. This was was this your original, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, Bethany is, if you have not subscribed, just do it right now because I am going to talk you into doing a lot of videos.
Okay.
Bethany's skill is amazing. She is so fun and strategic, and I've learned a ton from her already. So you too, I know, are going to be learning some really fun stuff. So before we dive into Orange Blossom, I always want to know how a designer came up with the idea. So, all right, so tell us about, quick, but how'd you learn, because they want to know how to make this block, but how did you learn how to sew?
So my mom kind of taught me. She forced me to sew at the sewing machine, and it was very traumatic because I couldn't sew a 1/4-inch seam.
That's changed.
That's a long story. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. A lot of it was just self-taught, YouTube and Pinterest. This particular quilt, once I had my skill level down, and I wasn't too afraid of biases and curves, I said I need a quilt because mama never made me a quilt.
Oh no!
I never got married or had kids, so I didn't get a quilt.
Not yet.
Not yet. I needed a bed quilt. I wanted to finish it in a weekend maybe, but I wanted it to be spectacular. I didn't want to just do squares or checkers or something. So, I chose curves.
You chose curves.
I chose curves. And I made it work. I studied and studied until I found a technique and then modified it for my use until I could do this block in minutes. And
it's amazing. It's amazing. And we've got some tools.
Yes.
And along the way, you guys invented some tools. You invented some tools that would help Lily just dial in this block.
Yeah.
All right. Take us on the journey. I've never made an Orange Blossom block. So we're learning together at the same time. Okay.
So knowing you, I just got to say, trust the process. This is going to feel a little wrong. It's going to feel a little weird.
Okay.
It says we're not going to cut our fabric accurate at first.
Okay.
We've got a super accurate quilt here. All of our points are matching up. All of our petals are exactly 1/2 inch from each other. We will get there. Trust the process. Okay?
Trust the process.
So we have our iron on.
Okay.
Okay. Move this out of the way. We are going to start with our light flannel here. This is going to be the background of the block here. And we are going to use this cut right freezer paper to get our template pieces, basically.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to pass this to you since you're closer to the iron. We're going to do this iron side or wrong side up.
Okay.
With the flannel, if you iron freezer paper to fabric, it kind of the shiny side sticks to the fabric. You can peel it up and reuse it.
Right.
Okay. The flannel, because it's so fuzzy and linty, kind of deposits a little bit on these.
Okay.
So I like to use the sizing. It'll stabilize the fabric and keep it from depositing too much lint onto this, so we can reuse these template pieces over and over.
So put the sizing on the back of this thing.
Yeah, we're going to size the back. Yeah.
And have we done that yet? Do I need to do it?
No, we need to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, question while I'm doing that, how did you get these out of that freezer paper?
Okay, so we've got 2 options here.
Okay. I'm going to wait on this because I want to hear my options right now.
Okay, so this is the Orange Blossom stencil. We can trace this onto the cut right freezer paper and cut out our pieces with the scissors here. And for this, usually we're really pushing that friction pen. We like that. But because we're going to be ironing on this, we need a permanent pen.
Okay, makes sense. Okay.
Like a fine tip micron pen or just a ballpoint pen, even a pencil is good. I like to line this up right in the corner.
Yeah, it saves you 2 cuts over there.
Hey, yeah, it does.
Right.
And then I usually force my line to the edge of that stencil. Okay. And then we're going to come all the way around. And if we cut right on these lines, this will get us these 3 pieces. And then you see the like L, the P, and the S here.
Yes.
This is large, small, and petal.
Okay.
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 Just so we can keep those pieces.
Okay.
These two, they look pretty similar in shape, but this one's a little shorter than this one.
Okay.
So we would cut these out and then use them for a project. Okay?
And we only need 1 set, or do we need more sets?
So we're going to use each set to make maybe 4 or 5 blocks, 5 or 6 blocks, depending on how lengthy the fabric is.
Okay.
So a set of 25 sheets will get you 5 per block. You can make the whole quilt, which is 100 petals.
Okay.
Or we've also got an option to have these die cut.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay, so a little bit less work.
And more precise.
More precise, yeah.
More precise. And I want to jump into the fun. I don't want to trace.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, okay.
Okay,
So I'm gonna set
but
this
I
on the
like
side.
having the option. So if I want to just get the freezer paper, I can get that and I make my own, or buy these, and this will have a full pack of these,
it'll be
right?
the full 25 sheets that the
I
cut
like
right
that
comes
option.
in.
All
Okay.
right.
So we're gonna size this.
Okay. I was like, how do we get that? Yeah. I'm like, that's...
I tend to prep my fabric and then do some stuff. So I was going in my brain's order.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then I know we're gonna once I get this kind of iron, kind of how you sort through your fabrics and kind of determine your combinations, because I like your contrast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that more random, or do you really kind of plan that out?
It's very intentionally scrappy, is what I would say.
Okay.
So this was a set of, I believe, 10 different fabrics for the background and 13 fabrics for the petals.
Okay.
And I'm trying to make sure that I'm not repeating the same combinations over and over. So I'll walk you through how I do that. But to get this prepped here, we are going to iron the shiny side down. We're going to put these in the corner, and I want to leave about a 1/4 inch or so. It's a very generous cut here. It doesn't have to be accurate because we're going to square this up later.
Okay.
So
don't get these because we need to leave.
Yeah, we need to leave space around all of these.
Okay.
So I'd say as close as you can get it to the edge with still leaving a 1/4 inch or so. I like that a lot.
Is that too close?
Nope, not too close.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you press that down, and then I'll show you how I cut these out, which will take a little faith.
And I know we've got some kits, limited kits on this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, I think, the color wash Woolies flannel backing option. Oh, it snows in North Idaho. We really like our flannel.
I think it was sewing when I bound this quilt, and I just loved having the weight of it on me
because
it was like the first real snow we got, and I was like, "What is this? I've never dealt with snow before," and so I at least had the very, very warm and heavy quilt on me to keep me warm in the studio.
Okay, so I've got this done.
So we are gonna cut these out.
All right.
We don't have to do an accurate 1/4 inch. I'm gonna do a freehand, generous 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch on this. Okay. I like the 28 millimeter rotary cutter.
Right.
I feel it gives me a little bit more control and precision than maybe was it a 44 is the other size?
45 millimeter.
45, yeah. So I'm gonna leave again generous 1/4 to 1/2 inch on this, and I usually leave my rotary cutter down and kind of turn my fabric. Okay.
Oh yeah.
You see, it's a little shorter here, a little wider here. This is all fine. Okay. Feels a little weird. This is not the accuracy
you told me to
that
trust
Jen
the process.
is used to. Okay.
I like precision.
And just one more time. And they don't have to be identical to each other. Okay. We're just gonna keep these here. We could use this in another pattern. I actually, when we do this with different fabrics, maybe pre-cuts, this piece does get utilized.
Oh.
But for now, we're going to set that aside.
Okay, for like this part.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm seeing it.
Okay.
I'm starting to see the vision. Okay. Where
All
am I putting this?
We're
Anywhere?
set aside. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do we want to see that one more time? Was that a little fast?
No,
Okay.
I think we got it. I think
Okay.
we're there.
So we are going to grab our favorite glue stick. Okay.
Okay.
I've got a couple options here.
All right.
Okay. We love the Sullivan glue stick. It's a very good glue.
Okay.
We do not want a super strong glue for this project because we're going to be eventually peeling this up. We want a lesser quality glue, which is why for this I love the school glue.
Okay.
Even your like office supply store brand is awesome for this.
Like dollar store.
Dollar store.
Inexpensive.
Yeah. You can do it with the Sullivan, but because it's a stronger glue, sometimes after a few times of using it on the template, it might tear the template.
Oh,
okay, so you might not get the whole 4 or 5 uses out of it.
We don't want that. Okay.
So if it's your only option, it will work. I like the Elmer's or the Crazy Art. And I'm going to use the Elmer's because it shows up really well. It's a dark purple. It dries clear. We're going to glue on the fabric. Okay, not on the paper. So it's a little bit of glue. Looks like a lot. I like to let this one maybe sit for a second and get a little less tacky while I go do my second set.
Okay.
Okay. Set that aside. And we're going to come back. And starting from the middle where it's got the most of the bias, I'm going to pull this back and adhere it down to the paper.
Wow. Okay.
So now if I flip this over, that's my like perfect seam here.
And we got here. Do we not want to iron that because you said it's going to lift up later?
Yeah, we're not going to iron it because it's already ironed down to the template here.
Yeah.
So we know it's really secure.
Okay.
And then we're gluing it down to this side. So if there's not really wiggle room to iron it, we don't want to set that glue really hard.
Okay.
Because we're going to be peeling this up later.
Got it.
Okay. Okay. So that's that. Let's get the petal piece prepped. Yeah?
Okay.
Where'd my little petal piece there?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to have you do this. This will be right sides up now. And we're just going to put this in a way that gets us, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch around.
Okay.
The whole
So
thing.
do we kind of want that bias so it'll curve around it?
The bias doesn't matter. It's just how you can utilize your fabric best.
Oh, okay. So we could go this way if we wanted.
Yeah, I think in the pattern for the cuts we have, we'll do 3 per 22-inch strip.
So it's that, and again, that 1/4 inch we're looking for?
Yeah, 1/4 to 1/2. I'd say let's do a little more generous on this one.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And on this side, feels so weird.
To do it right side up.
You said trust the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And this is another one where we're going to quickly trim this.
Should I take these out of the way?
No,
Should I be the keeper of these?
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to get it. This one. And this
I'm
one.
like that mother that moves the glass so the kid elbow doesn't go flying off the table.
All right. So
wow.
This is our piece. Okay. This is just here to help guide us placing these. Okay.
Okay.
We see we have the large one, the small one. We're always going to start with the small one because the large will overlap.
Okay.
Okay. These line up here, right?
This part.
Yeah. Okay. This part here lines up all the way around.
Understood.
Okay. We are going to put this seam down on top of this and try to line up these edges with this curve here.
Okay.
I'm showing you the wrong side up so that we could, because sometimes the fabric's like, if you do have like a white thin cotton, you can see through it. This one's flannel. I'm going to find that corner.
So you know where that goes.
And line it up there.
I see.
And we're going to do that. So I know I can feel my corners there, corners there.
And these need to be like really close.
Yeah, we're going to try to get them as snug as we can.
Okay.
It's okay if there's a little space between because what we're going to do when we start sewing. Okay. We're going to leave the petal down, the paper down, peel back the fabric, and that's our 1/4 inch already turned under.
How did you come up with this?
My mama taught me. My mom
Amazing.
showed me a method for doing this with a whole circle.
Really?
And a smaller circle, but with freezer paper, and I just adapted it for my use. I don't know where she learned it.
Amazing.
I
love it.
I think someone at her guild taught her, but
okay.
So
hand it down.
That's
okay.
the one. So between this template piece and this template piece, there is a little bit of room. We can like run our nail between there.
Okay.
Can you sew on a straight line? Like if I drew a line, could you stitch on it like a star single, right?
Usually.
Okay.
With glasses on.
If it's slightly curved, could we sew on it, right?
I think so because I kind of have this ditch, so to speak.
Yeah, that's all we're gonna do.
But you're not gonna make me do that, right?
I'll do it first.
Thank you.
I got you. We are going to sew right along the edge of the paper.
Okay.
Keeping the fabric out of the way.
Okay.
and that'll be our first seam.
And just sew on and all the way off?
Oh, yeah, from the edge right off to the edge.
Fantastic.
Okay?
All right.
So we'll take this to our machine, and I'll show you that.
I'm watching. Okay.
All right, so I'm going to turn the speed down. And we're going to sew right next to the line. And it's okay to stop and start. I go about an inch, adjust my fabric, stop and start. And it's okay to catch the paper. It kind of perforates it and you can peel it out. And then I always have a stop and start strip so that I don't have to cut my thread. I just leave that in the machine. Okay, so we've sewed our seam. It's a little hard to see here, so I'll flip it over. We see that perfect curve there.
Right.
Okay. And my natural reaction is I want to press this flat again.
Yes.
We're going to get this paper off first. Okay, this is where I said I like a school
glue.
That glue just peels up real easy. Okay.
And then we can use this
and
again.
we can use this template again.
Fantastic.
Okay? We'll set that aside. And then this looks a little bonkers. That's a little crazy. So I'm going to go through freehand, clean this up. And this is where I like to do, a 1/4 inch. It's a little big. It's a little small. This is where my generous 1/4 inch over here really comes into play.
Okay.
Because I can clean this up. And now from the back, that's going to look perfect.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So can you press this flat for me?
This I can do. Okay. This is amazing.
So no pins, no
I noticed
super
that.
accurate cutting.
I noticed that. No pins. We
No
haven't touched
pins.
a pin.
We haven't touched a pin.
Not once.
We've got the glue stick as that's my secret weapon.
Okay. Yes. I see a lot of glue sticks in this going through. That's
Goes
true.
through a lot. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So same thing. This time is going to overlap, and you can see we're not matching up with the edge of the block because we freehand cut this a little generous. We'll square this block up after we get this seam done.
Okay.
Okay. So same thing here. I like this glue stick. Let me try this one. Let's just see.
Yeah.
And this will go right on top of the fabric. This one you don't see it as much.
Right.
Okay. And this one, we're going to overlap the edge of this about 3/4 of an inch. So I have the edge of my block. I'm going to eyeball a 3/4 inch. But if it's about the same on both sides, and I can tell this is centered.
We're good.
The accuracy comes from this petal piece lining things up and when we square it up later. Okay. So this will be down. We don't need to press it. I'm going to take it back to the machine.
Fantastic.
And we will sew that seam, again, edge to edge all along the curve here.
Just like before.
Just like before.
Okay. So you want to do that and come back?
Yeah.
And by the way, if somebody's grabbing the glue sticks, how many do you think they should grab for this quilt?
For a project this big, I would say 5 or 6.
And this is a good size quilt. There's limited kits with the backing. Obviously you can make this in any size you'd want.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. I think
Just
the pattern
keep
does
adding
like a table runner to a king
anything.
size. Yeah.
So this size, about 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I may have goofed a wee bit.
Well, what happened?
Okay, but this is a really great opportunity for me to show you how forgiving this pattern is. This seam looks pretty great. Flip it over. It looks, I don't see, any wonkiness in here.
Okay.
But I know I sewed through the template a tiny bit here. Okay?
Oh.
Okay?
Okay. Not a big deal.
We're not going to freak out. Okay?
No freak out.
So just like we did before, we're going to keep going. We'll peel off this template. Use that again. I'm going to trim this up.
Okay.
Okay. And because we're sewing, I'm going to get that a little closer. Just because I like it pretty.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The curve is so gentle here. If I cut off a 1/16 of an inch here, it's not really going to show. Okay. I want you to press this flat.
Okay.
We're going to peel this template piece out, and I'm going to show you what that looks like.
Okay. So we definitely want to press this with that.
I like to press it with it.
Just kind of stabilize it.
Yeah, stabilize it, especially that seam we just trimmed up. Sometimes likes to roll under on itself. I feel like the template in there, the petal template, helps stabilize it a little bit when you're pressing. Okay.
Okay. And what's amazing is when I saw you when I saw this quilt on the design wall and I saw this, I was 99.9 sure you'd applicate. Oh, sorry. That you'd applicate these on top, and they're actually behind.
I don't have time for that. I had a weekend. Okay, so
I don't have time for that.
so I wanted a piece quilt. Okay, so if I peel this up, I can see I caught a little bit of it there. I just peel this whole thing up. You see, I've maybe perforated a little bit.
Not a big deal.
But it's not a big deal.
I can see that. Okay.
And I can still reuse this template.
Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So little goof, not an actual goof.
Okay.
So now this is where the super accuracy comes in. Okay. So our petal made this the same size every single time.
Yep.
We're gonna square up this block. I think.
Yep. I have it here. So you've got the option of the stencil, right? Mm-hmm. Or this one?
Yeah. So you can do the stencil. A way we could use a stencil if we're going this route and cutting our own templates is we can actually lay this right on top, match those petals up, mark our 4 corners, and cut this with a straight ruler. Any straight ruler we have at home. Okay. If you go the die cut route, we also have the laser cut ruler here. It's got the little lines etched in it, and we can line that up right on there. You see the lines here? Get those lined up right there. I like to put the little magic grips on the corners.
Yeah.
Really stabilize this, and we can trim this up.
I've got a spinning mat.
Yeah, I was going to ask, can we get that spinning mat? Because that'll keep this.
That way we're not lifting it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let me move these out of the way for you.
And because the ruler is doing the measuring for us, we don't have to get this straight on the mat. Right. I'm just going to plop that down.
I love the edge of the blossom on there. So you can totally I don't know if the overhead camera can pick that up. They can see, put it off. Yeah, you can see the lines. Awesome.
It's just gorgeous. It's nice having all these resources here.
Yes.
Okay? So we're going to cut and cut. I'm going to rotate that a little bit more. I'm going to do it that way. And then cut. And cut. Okay. That's our block.
That's amazing. It's just all cleaned up and
gorgeous. And now these points are 3/4 inch from the edge. I did that so that we're not having to match these points up with the next block.
Yeah, I saw that.
They kind of float.
I love that.
I didn't want the bulk there. I didn't want to have to deal with matching up points. And again, I wanted to finish this in a weekend. So I left these kind of floating. Yeah. I still get that whole circle feeling in this.
A beginner could do this.
Yeah, really. Yeah, if you can sew on a straight line that kind of bends a little bit.
When I see curves, I try not to run for the hills, but I'm tempted, right?
Right. Okay.
But this isn't really doing curves. I mean, you've got this edge.
It's flat, and you've got a guy there to hold your hand. If you can keep the fabric out of the way, we can do this.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna set this aside.
Okay.
And then when I made this block first, I thought there was all this negative space here, and so I added the little snowball corner, a magic corner, just to add a little pop, a little secondary pattern in this, because I thought this was beautiful, but it was a little plain. Okay?
Over in these 2 corners.
So just the 2 corners that don't have the points in them. Okay. We have a square. Do you want to pick out 2? Ooh. Any 2 colors? And I like to make them different than whatever I have in the petal. That's another part of the intentional scrappy here.
Would you try to stay in browns, or do you care about that? What would you choose? What?
I might not go for the gray.
What about a really dark gray?
I like that.
You like that one?
Gorgeous. Okay. Yeah. And look, these are the same prints.
Oh.
Just different colors. I love that.
Okay.
We have some cohesion. Okay. This is going to be just your general diagonal line, and we'll sew on the line. So corner to corner, I like a small little ruler for doing these, because I feel like the big rulers are great for cutting, but when I want to do small precision work, the big ones get a little clunky. So
I know.
I'll do with my friction pin this time. Diagonal there. I'll do one here. And I'm not too picky about which side of the fabric. This is so small, and the pattern's so scrappy that the direction of the fabric.
You don't worry about the direction.
Not for this kit here. Yeah, I mean, I do get into some where I fussy cut my centers.
Okay.
I get a little more. These are different, for this particular quilt, we are just going to line these in the corner. So wrong sides together. We will pin this. So this is one part in the project where we will use pins.
Okay.
That's not a great pinning. There we go. That's a good pinning. And then we're just going to sew right on that line, point to point.
Okay.
Okay, same thing here. Corner. All right, so for this last little bit, we're going to trim 1/4 inch on either side, press these open, and that's our block. Here.
Oh, press them open.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I was thinking we always kind of press the outside.
Press to the dark or press to the, it's the dark side, right?
Right. That's true. Let me get this warming up
the
here.
The reason I don't do that is because this is scrappy and my layout, I'm not, making each block as I go, like I didn't start with that block. I just made a bunch of blocks and then chose my layout.
I see.
So I never know which directions these are going to be to interlock the seams. So I press them all open so that they lay flatter. Okay.
That makes sense. It gives you options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we'll get that iron heated up.
Yep.
We'll press that open.
Yes.
All right. I'll let you do the honors.
Okay. So when you really, as I'm pressing this, are kind of trying to plan it, you said you just kind of make your blocks, you get your fabric.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of, I've seen people do this at quilt retreats. They like throw their fabric in this paper bag and shake it up.
I have done that for some quilts.
I'm like, I can't handle it.
I may or may not have another tutorial that will do that. For this particular quilt, again, I called it intentional scrappy. So I am going to, because I have 25 sets of the laser cut or the die cut here.
Right.
I will prep 25 sets of the background fabrics and 25 petals and get as much variety as I can between those. And then what I do is I'll lay out all my petals on the table and then match the arc sets to them to try to get as much variety as possible. Not every block's going to be like a winner in a scrappy quilt.
Yeah.
Okay, so I might have I wasn't super a fan of the dark, the light gray with the dark gray. Okay. Where this block here with the cream and the espresso color has such good contrast. This wasn't as good contrast. But if I didn't use these two together, there would have been less opportunity to use them elsewhere. I might have more repeat blocks. Yeah. So I'm going to make some blocks that I just don't love wholeheartedly, but they will work in the entire quilt.
Do. It looks amazing. Yeah. It looks amazing.
Every block's a winner, then I'm only left with loser fabrics at the end, and I'm like, oh.
Okay. So that one's done. And I know there's some other ones you prepped. Should I grab those?
Yeah, let's grab those.
Okay.
Let's do, yeah. So we have a couple blocks here. I think these are the same fabrics here.
Oh, so you might change these. I saw you on the design wall when I peeked in a couple times. Mm-hmm. And I know you were changing stuff around.
Yeah, a couple of things I see here is these two fabrics are the same. So I might turn this one around. Okay. On that. Or so that these two weren't next to each other.
Right.
But also this and this are the same and they're really close together. So I might turn that around. Okay.
Or maybe introduce another block.
Introduce another block. I might switch them around. Or these are all really similar. Let me toss this one around. So now I have a little bit of contrast with that brown in there.
Gotcha.
So I'm moving these around. I've done some of these quilts where I did just the circle block at a time. This one I laid out vertical rows.
Oh.
Because I did have 10 background fabrics. I tried to get one of each in each row. Though if you look really closely, I didn't quite do that.
Okay.
I did the last two rows together, so it's not perfect.
I love it.
The scrappiness is maintained, and I can it's it is scrappy, but if we had these two together, it looks a little bit less scrappy.
I agree.
So just by turning these blocks,
right,
with it 180 degrees,
we
can get a whole different look.
Yeah.
And that's our quilt.
So this is definitely a design wall.
Or
on the floor. Something where you're very intentional about the layout.
Yeah.
And then as far as piecing this together, did you do this in rows across, columns down? What do you recommend?
I think this one I I laid it out vertically and I sewed it horizontally from the bottom up because I didn't want them falling off of my design wall and knocking other things down.
That's smart.
I have done some where I pieced them in blocks, and then once I had these blocks, I moved them around.
Okay.
That's another video.
Yeah. So once you have this laid out and these are right side together and you're sewing this, I know sometimes when I, like a pinwheel, I want to start in that point where I got to make it come together. Would you, when you place these right side together, I'll let you take it from here. Would you start sewing that seam here and there to make sure that's coming together well? What do you think?
I don't know if I've ever been that intentional about it. I know I match up my points. This is the only spot I have to match things up.
Right.
And you see here, just the way we laid these out, my bigger arc pieces are all in the middle.
It's amazing.
That doesn't always happen. Okay. Okay. So if we had maybe turned this one around. Okay. And maybe turn this around. I don't know. I don't like that. I'm gonna do this. Okay. Now maybe these two are matching up. These two are not.
Oh,
okay.
This part.
Okay. I don't really care.
You don't. To me, I don't really. It just kind of merges together.
Because it's the background. To me, it's all one fabric.
Yeah.
I will just sew these. I usually just get a pin right here and maybe a pin on the end.
Okay.
And sew down. I don't worry about matching these seams up. Sometimes the way we trimmed up the block, they might be a little off from each other.
Okay.
It's a background. It's happened dozens of times in here, but you can't tell once it's quilted.
No.
Like I can see right here, these two did not line up if I get really, really close. But in the whole scheme of the picture, that circle is continuous.
Right.
The quilting really plays off of that.
Right.
So I tried to make, when I said I wanted to do a quilt in a weekend, I tried to make a really forgiving block.
Yeah.
Because I make a lot of mistakes, and I wanted, again, a spectacular quilt that you couldn't tell might have had some mistakes.
You did that. And are we pressing seams open as you're going?
Yeah, I do like to press seams open when I don't have like a direction or an interlocking. I would say it's not critical, whatever you decide to do.
Okay.
Just what's easy. I mean, for the bulk of flannel, I'd say press open.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know I've seen you sew on a shorter stitch length.
Yeah.
And is that especially true with flannel? Just because of the looser weave of flannel? You always sew on a shorter.
I always sew on a 2.0.
Okay.
It's just my go-to. I feel like, especially because I do a lot of chain piecing.
Okay.
If I'm cutting my chains apart, I feel like they unravel a little bit less on a shorter stitch. You see, I always have the little starter stopper strip.
Right.
Because I don't want to have a bunch of threads hanging off. Especially this is the BERNINA has a thread cutter. I started sewing on a machine that didn't have a thread cutter, and I always had those long tails of thread, and I was wasting so many spools of thread. So the little start and stop keeps things a little neat.
Like
the 2.0 stitch keeps it from unraveling. That's how I do.
That's an amazing block. Okay, so I can see. I first thought this was no way a beginner could do this, but this is a repeatable process.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, if someone can really choose, they got to have obviously the templates.
They have to have the freezer paper.
Right.
That's critical.
So I think because this is all depending on the shape of that, the die cut's obviously the most accurate.
Yeah.
And you can just jump into it. And then obviously that trim up tool is essential. And I love when I can square up a block.
Yes.
That's how they all click together like puzzle pieces. So Bethany Miller, I am so glad that you taught this instead of me trying to do it, because you've made it so many times in cottons and brights and now in flannels as well. So can I get you to commit to some more videos for Shabby Fabrics?
Yeah, absolutely.
You just have too much you have to share, and we want to know all about it.
I mean, I'm here.
Okay,
you got me.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for letting us letting Bethany show all of us how to make the Orange Blossom amazing block. And obviously it makes a spectacular quilt. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already done that. And we will see you soon on another video.